What up, everybody? Back again here with our time unit. Today we are finding the end time while crossing hours. So let's wake on up and see what's going on today. So our objective today I will be able to find the end time when given the start time and elapsed time while crossing over the hour. Okay, so the big difference here, if you've been with us since the beginning and you've done our third grade video, that was within an hour. The fourth grade standard doesn't make any exceptions, right? So it can be within the hour, or it could be across 1 hour, or it could be across many hours, okay? So that's really the difference. It's just a little baby step up from what you did before in the third grade standard. And so it shouldn't be super difficult if you've already mastered that. So let's dive right in and check out our math vocabulary. So our math vocabulary, we have start time, elapsed time, and end time, and we're going to be referring to these a lot in the next few lessons. The start time is pretty self-explanatory. It's the time that an event starts. The end time is the time that event ends. And the elapsed time is the amount of time that has passed from the start of an event to the end of the event. So the time between the start time and end time. Let's take a look at a visual model to help us kind of visualize these math vocabulary words. Here we have a timeline, okay? And we picture time on a timeline instead of on a circle because time flows like a river, okay? And so when we think about time a lot, we think about a clock and it's just going in circles. But time really never ends. So it's kind of like the number lines we've been using since you were in first and second grade, right? And so let's take a look at how we can use this timeline to help us solve these math problems. So here we have Juan and Alexander. Okay, and they are on a travel soccer team, and they had a late game one night, and so they left their house with their parents at 7 p.m. Okay, so that means we're going to call 7 p.m. our start time. Now, to understand what you're about to see, you need to understand how I mark time on my timeline and how hopefully you are or will be marking time as well. I use a strategy that I like to call mountains and hills. So you can see right here that a mountain, right, kind of just an A without the middle, we call it a mountain, pointy like a mountain, is equal to 1 hour. And then we have the hills, which are more curved lines, which are equal to minutes. Hills can be a 1 minute time, a 2 minute elapsed time, a 3 minute interval, a 10 minute interval, 50 minutes. As long as it's minutes, you use a hill to represent that on your number line. And if it's an hour, you use a mountain. So that's going to help you understand what we're about to look at, which are 3 mountains and 2 hills. At 7 p.m., it took them 1 hour to get to the game. The game was 2 hours and 34 minutes long, and I want to know what time the game ended. Okay, so here I've represented my 3 hours on my number line using mountains, and then I had a 30-minute hill and a 4-minute hill. This green part, okay, when we group it together, is equal to 3 hours and 34 minutes. This is called our elapsed time. This is the amount of time that happened in the event of going to the soccer game and playing in the soccer game. Now, after those 3 hours and 34 minutes, the game ends at 10:34. We call this the end time because it's the end of our event. Okay, so when you look at this, you kind of can visually see our vocabulary words. We started our event at 7 p.m. Our event was getting to the soccer game and playing it, so it took it 3 hours and 34 minutes of elapsed time for that event to happen. And then it ended at 10:34, and, we call that our end time. All right, so now that we have a kind of a visual representation, you kind of can visually see our math vocabulary words in action. All right, so here's a you try problem. If you are ready to try this one by yourself using our strategy, go ahead and pause it, and then you can push play and check your answer. If you're not there yet, that's okay. You can just do this one with us before you practice on your independent practice. So again, hopefully you pushed pause and now you're checking it. And so we should have done our sides check word problem strategy here. And my question asked me, what time did Carlos get out of school? So my statement's going to say Carlos got out of school Probably not proper English, but that's okay. Got out of school. And again, I know I'm looking for a time here. So I want to be identifying anything about what he was doing at school and anything about the time. So Carlos went to lunch at 11:35. Lunch was 20 minutes long. And then after lunch, he had 3 hours and 18 minutes before he got out of school. What time did he get out of school? Again, I see this is a elapsed time problem. So I'm going to label my start time, my elapsed time, and my end time. And I know I had two different elapsed times. I had 20 minutes, right? And then I had 3 hours and 18 minutes. And then he went to lunch at 11:35, and you're looking at, then he did something after school, and you're looking for when he got out of school. So the 11:35 was the beginning of my event, and that's 11:35 a.m. Put my question mark here, and I'm going to give myself some more space to draw my timeline. So here's my timeline, okay, and I want to put my start time on it, and that's going to be 11:35, okay, and I'm going to put a.m. here because that's going to be important. And then I know I want to add up my total elapsed time first, and that's going to bring me to 38 minutes and then 3 hours. So my total elapsed time was 3 hours and 38 minutes. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of my hours. Okay, so if I add 1 hour, I'm going to make this kind of big right here. Okay, so if I add 1 hour here, that's going to take me to 12:35, right? But now I went from AM to PM because once I cross over 12, my labeling of the time changes. So when you cross over 12, it's either going to change from PM to AM or from AM to PM, right? From the morning to the afternoon or from the afternoon and night back to the beginning of the next day in the morning. So if it was 11:35 a.m. and I cross over 12, that's going to take me to the afternoon, which changes my notation to PM. So now it's 12:35 p.m. and that is getting rid of 1 hour, which means I still have 2 hours and 38 minutes. I'm going to do another hour right here, okay? And now after 12, obviously we're not doing military time here, so you're going to go back and the clock is going to start back over at 1, right? So you kind of have to picture a clock as you do this. When you pass over 12, you kind of reset back to 1. So now it's going to be 1:35, and again, I'm still PM because I haven't crossed over 12 again. And then now I have, matter of fact, let me write this over here because I'm running out of room, and I want to make sure I'm being neat. Again, I recommend doing this part on another piece of paper. So now I'm getting rid of another hour, which leaves me with 1 hour and 38 minutes left. And so now I have to do my last mountain here, okay? And that one's going to be pretty easy because now I'm just counting. I'm not resetting. I'm just going resetting, not resitting. That doesn't make any sense. And so now it's going to be 2:35 p.m., all right? And now I am down to 0 hours, so I don't have to write anything, and 38 minutes. From here, what I want to do, first of all, if you have to extend your number line to give yourself more room, please do that. So when you draw your number line eventually, this is why I don't write down the start and end time first, because maybe I wrote a little bit bigger than I meant to, and guess what? I can erase this and extend my number line as long as I want to, because it's a line and it keeps going on forever. So I'm going to give myself some more room. All right, now I'm at 2:35. Here's my strategy once I get rid of the hours. I want to go to my next friendly number. That's a multiple of 10, or for those who don't know what a multiple is, it's a number that's going to end in 0. That's multiples of 10, other than 0. And so I'm going to do a 5-minute hill here, all right? Because if I do a 5-minute hill, that's going to take me to 2:40 p.m. Okay, and I'm going to write it down here and just kind of draw an arrow because I'm starting to get a little messy and kind of pressing things together. So I can use however many hills I want. If I wanted to do 38 1-minute hills, I could do that, right? But I'm going to get rid of 5 minutes because, again, I'm keeping track of how many minutes I have left, and I have 33 minutes left. Now that I'm at a number that ends in a 0, all right, I'm going to just do easy numbers that I can add in my head. So I'm going to go to the next hour now because I only need 20 minutes and I have 33. So I'm going to jump 20 minutes. Okay, and now my 20-minute hill looks the same as an hour, and that's really not okay. It shouldn't be that way. But, you know, truth and grace, as they say. All right, and so if I add 20 minutes to that, that's going to take me to 3 o'clock p.m. And so now I have 13 minutes left, and I can do this hill in one because I'm at 3 o'clock, so I'm at 0, and I know 0 plus 13 is going to be 13. So I'm going to do a 13-minute hill here, and I'm going to end at 3:13 p.m. So he got out of school at 3:13 p.m. So this looks kind of messy. Again, I would put my number line on a separate piece of paper, and then that way I can keep track and do my number line at the same time. But for me, because I'm on a computer, I kind of had to try to fit it in. So yours should be a little bit neater. The hardest part about any math is being neat. But if you notice what I did, I developed my plan. Okay, whoop, I did solve it and I did check it. There you go. I organized my information as I was developing my plan. I knew I was going to do a number line, and then as I was putting my elapsed time on my number line, I kept track of what went on my number line, so I knew how much more time I had to go before I got to the end. At the end, I put 13 minutes in, which means I was left with 0 minutes. So that's kind of the step. You want to take it one step at a time. Develop the plan, draw your number line, keep track of your elapsed time as you use your mountains and hills, and you will be successful. Yes, it takes a little bit of time, but I would always rather be right than save 3 minutes and be wrong. Thank you so much for checking us out today, InstructaBeats. We really appreciate your time. We hope that you will, if you were confused, you'll go back on our time playlist and start at the very beginning and take it one step at a time. You can check out our awesome elapsed time song. Please join us for our next lesson in our playlist. Check out our other videos and songs. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. InstructaBeats out.